Hey Arty, it's that time again. Good morning. We left off on chapter 4 of Frindle. Word Detective. It was a beautiful September afternoon. Bright sun, cool breeze, blue sky. But not for Nick. Nick had to do a little report for the next day, plus copy out all the definitions for 35 words. For Miss Granger, this is not the way school is supposed to work, not for Nick. There was a rule at Nick's house, homework first, and that meant right after school. Nick had heard his older brother James groan and grumble about this rule for years, right up until he graduated from high school 2 years ago. And then James wrote home from college after his first semester and said, "My grades are looking great because when I came here, I already knew how to put first things first." That letter was the proof Nick's mom and dad had been looking for. Homework first was the law from September to June. This had never bothered Nick before, because he had hardly ever had homework. Oh, sure, he looked over his spelling words on Thursday nights, and there had been a few short book reports in 4th grade. Other than that, nothing. Up to now, schoolwork never spilled over into his free time. Thanks to Miss Granger, those days were gone. First, he looked up the definitions in the brand new red dictionary that his mom had bought because Miss Granger told her to. It took almost an hour. He could hear a baseball game in John's yard down the street, yelling and shouting, and every few minutes the sharp crack of a bat connecting with a pitch. But he had a report to do for Miss Granger. Nick looked at the very front of the dictionary. There was an introduction to the book called Words and Their Origins. Perfect, Nick thought. It was just what he needed to do his report. It could all be over in a few minutes. Nick could already feel the sun and the breeze on his face as he ran outside to play homework, all done. Then he read the first sentence from the introduction. Without question, this modern American dictionary is one of the most surprisingly complex and profound documents ever to be created, for it embodies unparalleled etymological detail, reflecting not only superb lexicographic scholarship, but also the dreams of speech and imaginative talents of millions of people over thousands of years. For every person who has ever spoken or written in English has had a hand in its making. What? Nick scratched his head and read it again. Without question, this modern American dictionary is one of the most surprisingly complex and profound documents ever to be created, for it embodies unparalleled etymological detail, reflecting not only superb lexicographic scholarship, but also the dreams and speech and imaginative talents of millions of people over thousands of years. For every person who has ever spoken or written in English has had a hand in its making. And then again. Without question, this modern American dictionary is one of the most surprisingly complex and profound documents ever to be created, for it embodies unparalleled etymological detail, reflecting not only superb lexicographic scholarship, but also the dreams and speech and imaginative talents of millions of people over thousands of years. For every person who has ever spoken or written in English has had a hand in its making. Not much better. Sort of like trying to read the ingredients on a shampoo bottle. He slammed the dictionary shut and walked downstairs. Nick's family did a lot of reading, so bookshelves covered 3 of the 4 walls in the family room. There were 2 sets of encyclopedias. The black set was for grown-ups, and the red set was for kids. Nick pulled out the D volume from the red set and looked up dictionary. There were 3 full pages with headings like Early Dictionaries, Word Detectives, and Dictionaries Today. Not very exciting, but he had to do it, so Nick just plopped down on the couch and read all of it. And when he was finished with the kids' book, he opened up the black encyclopedia and read most of what it said about dictionaries too. He was at only about half of what he read. He leaned back on the couch and covered his eyes with his arms, trying to imagine himself giving a report on all this boring stuff. He'd be lucky to have 3 minutes worth, but because Nick was Nick, he suddenly had an idea and brought a grin to his face. Nick decided that giving this report could actually be fun. He could make it into something special. After all, Miss Granger had asked for it. So, I can't wait to see what he comes up with. Let's see. Gonna do a few more words from the book. Left off. Affectation is a noun. Behaviors or mannerisms that are exaggerated, extreme, eccentric, and deliberately showy, often in an effort to attract attention. Affectation is awkward and forces imitation of what should be genuine and easy. John Locke, a British philosopher. Afflatus, noun, inspiration that seems to come from divine origin. The Nobel Prize-winning novelist attributed her abilities to Afflatus rather than to her own abilities. Aficionado, noun, a devotee, someone who is enthralled with and supports a particular activity. Dwight often refers to himself as an aficionado of American-made microbrews. Aggrandize is a verb to exaggerate, put on a false front, and make something look greater and grander than it really is. Phil tries to aggrandize his reputation by stating that he is a charter member of the Bill O'Reilly fan club, but everybody just thinks his feat makes him pathetic. Akimbo, ever, with hands on hips and elbows turned outward. My father gets really mad. He stands stock still, arms akimbo, and slowly turns red in the face. Alacrity. Noun. Cheerful cooperation rendered with enthusiasm, promptness, and politeness. The alacrity with which Steve responded to Helen's invitation is nothing short of astonishing. Albeit. Conjunction, meaning though. Vicky thought Charles is dim-witted, albeit cute in a childlike way. Aleatory is an adjective. An action that is unplanned, spontaneous, a spur of the moment, rather than deliberately thought out and carefully considered. An outcome that is anything but certain and depends on luck, randomness, or chance. Of course you lost your election, Miranda yelled. An aleatory, fly-by-the-seat-of-your-pants campaign is never going to be a recipe for success. And I just realized I didn't spell any of those for you. So I'm going to go, affectation is A-F-F-E-C-T-A-T-I-O-N. Afflatus is F-F-L-A-T-U-S. Aficionado is A-F-I-C-I-O-N-A-D-O. Aggrandize is A-G-G-R-A-N-D-I-Z-E. Akimbo is A-K-I-M-B-O. Alacrity is A-L-A-C-R-I-T-Y. Albeit is A-L-B-E-I-T. And aleatory is A-L-E-A-T-O-R-Y. So, I'll be making your sister's video later. We're gonna go and try and find a church to go to nearby. Eat breakfast and then go see what neighboring church is good for us. See if we can find a good fit. Don't know if you guys are going to church today. If you are, I hope you behave for your mom and have a good time. And if not, I hope you behave for your mom and have a good time. Yeah, I think that's about it. Trying to adjust to doing Uber and Lyft again, and just trying to remember that I still can't contact you guys for a little while longer. But every video gets us one step closer to seeing each other, and can't wait to see you guys. And if you haven't seen them by then, hope you can't wait to see your reaction to them. Yeah, I love you and miss you, Arty, Autumn, and Jasmine, and yes, your mom too. Love you guys.